All right, listen, we are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to start off by saying happy Thanksgiving to you, 2025 Thanksgiving year. I'm just excited. I'm thankful and grateful that we can still be here another year, y'all. Another year. My name is Madeus, and welcome to Deal or No Deal Live. I am most certainly going to be doing another Deal or No Deal Live, even tonight on Thanksgiving Day, because I want to make sure that I commit to doing what I said I'm going to do, which is help you improve your skills in analyzing real estate deals. So that way you can leverage that to do more real estate deals that are profitable, and as well as for you to be able to analyze your own real estate property that you may want to purchase. So listen, let's get into it tonight, right? Let's get into it tonight. Again, happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy holidays to you, whether you're celebrating Thanksgiving or not. Happy holidays to you. I hope that you've had a wonderful day. For those of you who are watching right now, if you are someone who celebrates Thanksgiving and you cooked a turkey today, I hope that it was delicious, and I hope that it was enjoyable. And so, listen, I want to cut straight to the chase because I want you to enjoy the rest of your night. All right. So this episode is going to be a little bit shorter, but we're going to review a live deal, y'all, that I got right now. That I'm looking at a deal that is in the hands of another wholesaler that was sent to me, and so I'm going to review the deal. And at the end of the day, we're going to come to the conclusion on whether or not it's a deal or not a deal. All right. So if you're new here and you have not been to one of these shows, I want to tell you right now what it's about. Right. So Deal or No Deal is simply a live show that I host where we review deals together. Okay. And the goal here is to analyze the deal thoroughly and then make a determination at the end whether or not this is a deal that is actually, worth it, or if this is one that would go in the trash. So essentially, with the information that we're working with the asking price of the home, okay, what the potential ARV is, all right, and the condition of the home, and then we're going to analyze comps. We're going to analyze the market a little bit, and then we're going to make a determination on whether or not at the price that the home is being offered at, if that price is a deal or not a deal. And if it's not a deal, at what price we would need to be at for it to be a deal. All right. So the whole purpose of this show is to help, again, educate you, help you sharpen your skills as an investor and as a real estate investor or wholesaler, real estate agent, whatever the case may be. If you're someone who struggles with the number side of things in real estate, if you're someone who struggles with analyzing property, if you're someone who struggles with making offers, like, this is what this show is all about. It's here. It's literally a show that I've put together so that way we can sharpen those skills for you. All right. So with that being said, let's get started. Before we get into the deal that I have for you tonight, I want to make sure that we cover some some ground rules, right? So there's one thing that I say at the beginning of every show. Okay. A rule of thumb, if you're someone who is new to the industry, you're brand new, a rule of thumb, okay, before you do the work of reviewing a deal, before you do the work of, taking the time that we're going to take tonight to dig thoroughly and dig deep and analyze an actual real estate deal, you have to make sure that the opportunity that you're looking at is a real, actual opportunity that is worth your time. What does that mean? Okay, so I want to talk about, again, what a motivated seller is, because motivated sellers are the lifeblood of our business. Whether you're a wholesaler, whether you are a real estate agent, whether you are an investor buyer looking to add a property to your portfolio, a motivated seller is how you're going to get those opportunities that turn into money for you, right? And so the number one thing we want to make sure is that we want to make sure we understand what a motivated seller is. So at the beginning of every show, I talk about this because I believe that repetition is the mother of skill. Okay, so that the more we hear it, the more we do it, the more we say it, the more it becomes real to us. Because a part of being a great deal analyzer is also knowing when it's worth your time, or when it's not worth your time to sit down and to do all this homework. All right. So every deal that I show on this show, I've already done the homework on that. It is worth my time, right? But I want you to know the difference between a motivated seller and someone who's not motivated. Number one, a motivated seller is anybody who needs to sell, not wants to sell, but needs to sell. Like, they're in a situation where they need to do it and they have decided to do it, meaning that there's no other option on the table for them except for selling, right? They're not looking to do anything else except for selling, and they want to do it today, right? So a motivated seller is someone who needs to sell and they've decided to sell and they want to do it now, okay? So once you have somebody like that, an opportunity like that, it is 100% worth it for you to spend 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, however much time you have to spend to get down to the right price to make the deal work for you. It matters. Why? Because this person is absolutely 100% going to sign a contract with somebody. Your goal is to make sure that that somebody is you. All right? So with that being said, y'all, the deal that I got for you tonight is a deal here out here in my market. All right? So I'm going to share my screen as usual, and I'm going to be using a simple tool that everyone can use no matter where you are, no matter what your situation is. It's 100% free. You probably already are familiar with this tool already if you are in the real estate market. I'm going to be utilizing a tool called Zillow.com, okay, in order to do the deal reviews. Okay, so this way there are no excuses, no special tools that you need for this, y'all. You can do this literally with your phone, which is what I'm using, okay, and review your deals right on here. So this is the house that I got right now. All right, so 405 Lake Fair in Winter Park, Florida. So this house here, the condition of the home, let me give you the rundown. So as I mentioned before, I got this deal from a wholesaler. They're offering the deal at $299, okay? And the house needs work, all right? So by needs work, it needs a new AC unit. It's outdated. It needs a full-on cosmetic rehab in the inside, okay? And it possibly could need a roof because it's a bit old, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to take a look at what has recently sold in the past 90 days to 6 months. Then I'm going to take a look at what's currently active, okay? And then I'm going to do my math, all right? So the goal here is to get an idea of how this property could perform on the open market if it were fixed up, tip-top condition, completely modernized, completely up to the current market standard at top dollar. How would it perform in this current market? So that way we can get down to a price that makes sense. Because in real estate, y'all, the number one rule is to mitigate your risk, right? And investing period, your focus isn't just to make money, it's to mitigate your risk, okay? The less of a loss you take in the long run, the more money you're going to make, right? The more positive deals you have, it won't hurt so much if you have a deal that goes south, all right? So it is important that we look at what can be made, but it's also important that we are mitigating risk. So I'm going to share all of that with you tonight, y'all. I hope you're ready to get started. If you're ready to get started, type ready in the comment section. Type ready in the comment section, and we're gonna get it going on this deal right now. All right. So if you take a look at my screen here, this is the property we're dealing with. So let's get a rundown about the details of this property. This is a 3-2, 1,491 square feet. All right. Zestimate says it's worth about $310. I don't ever trust his estimate. We're going to do some real comps and on our end here. But what I do like to pay attention to is details regarding the market, right? And so let's look at the overview real quick to see if there's any information in here. Just basic information, 3-2, 1,491 square feet. All right, so this is important. It was built in 1957. It is a block house. That's important to note, okay? The lot size is 9,200 square feet. Let's see if there's anything else valuable in here. That's pretty much it. Okay. All right. So this house has no price history. Okay. All right. So we've got some nearby homes, recommendations by Zillow. None of that matters to us. All right. So here's what we know. In order to run our comps, we want to compare apples to apples, right? So we want to find comparables, the houses that are closest to this house. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, about almost 1,500 square feet. So I'm going to put in my filters in here. Okay, hold on one second. Before I do that, I gotta find the exact point where this house is at. All right, so it's right here. For those of you who like maps, I absolutely love maps. It's right there. This is important because on this map, I gotta be able to find it. Where did it go? We do it one more time here. I gotta be able to find it. I like to know exactly where it's at. 1 second. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Right above, right underneath St. Paul's. So right about here. Right about here. There's our house right here. You can see it. It's kind of grayed out, right? So this is our house. I'm gonna zoom out. Now that I know where it's at. So now you see this highway here. This is I-4, right? So this is a major highway. And a lot of times in Orlando, where I'm at, the home values can change drastically depending upon what neighborhood you're in or what community you're in. So I'm going to do something that's a bit surgical. I know this area very well. This Lee Road here, this is another major road. The houses down here tend to be valued a little bit higher than the houses up here, right? And down here, we're getting into the Edgewater area, College Park. The houses down here are much higher in value than the houses up here. And so with that being said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a box around this like this. Let me show you. And the goal at first is to see if I can find anything that is specifically inside this neighborhood. All right, so now let's do our filters. So we said that this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, about 1,500 square feet. So let's filter out the square footage from 1,250 to 1,750. It was built in 1959, if I remember correctly. So we're going to go up 20 years. So 1979, we'll do it 1980. All right, so we got 2 results in the last 6 months. So we got anything in the last 90 days? Oh, in the last 90 days. So two results in the last 90 days, which is kind of like on the bottom end of this area here. Okay? All right. And so this is probably the closest thing that we got to to this house. It's in the neighborhood, which is perfect. It's in the exact same neighborhood, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Looks like it was renovated. So for 450, I'm gonna see if I can find some photos on this. Let's see if I can find some photos on this. Let's see. All right, let's see if we can find some photos on this house. Only one. I like to get I like to get a really good look. This is why I look for photos, because I like to get a really good idea of what this house looked like when it's sold. And if there aren't photos available, and what we do is we look at the description, right? So newly renovated, move-in ready, full home with no HOA, beautifully updated 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, modern interior. That's a good sign. Private backyard oasis. Okay, so that sounds like a pool. Hold on, let me see something. It's hard for me to tell. Can't really see the pool from this point of view. Mm. This large open deck is ideal for entertaining or simply relaxing by the sparkling pool surrounded by lush landscaping. So this house had a pool, right? So just something to note. So this home had a pool on it. Our home does not have a pool. Okay? So question for you. Do you believe that our house could sell for 450? We're just with this one comp. We don't have enough data yet to really prove this. But as a question, just to test, what you're understanding and what you think, like, do you believe that our house is worth $450,000 with no pool? All right, so the answer to that is no, right? The answer to that is no. All right, so let's look at the price history on this house. So what I'm looking at now is like, well, how fast did it sell? Right, so they bought it in 1998 for 78 grand. He listed it in 2025, or March of 2025. So look how long it took to sell. That's a long time. It took over 6 months for this house to sell. That's a pretty long time. They listed it for 274. They probably listed it as is, and then they did some work to it probably. Changed the price, raised the price to 475 in July, almost August. All right, they dropped the price some, and then in less than a month, they went pending at 469 and finally settled at 450. All right, so they tried to push the market at 470. Market was not rewarding that, and then finally the market took it at 450 for a pool home. Okay, all right. So now let's look at the other comp we got here, which is this one. This one sold for 430. No pool. It's on a busy. It's not technically it's not on a busy highway, but it's right off of a busy highway. Corner unit or lot. Let's see. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500 square feet. So that's good. So this isn't even closer comparable to our house, right? Because there's no pool, right? About 1,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. All right, granite countertops, private backyard oasis. So they put some work into this house. Let's go. This beautifully updated 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, perfectly positioned to enjoy the best of both Winter Park and College Park. We got a lot in here. A large living room, a cozy window bench, modernized kitchen. That's good. Complete with granite countertops, wood cabinets, stainless steel appliances. Okay, so they went completely modern, right? So tip top of the market. Now, about our subject property. With our subject property, the wholesaler that sent me this deal, okay, they were projecting that house's ARV to sit at $450,000. So based on these two comps that we have here, right now, these are two sales that happened in the last 90 days. I believe 450 is too high, okay? Is what I believe so far. Because a pool home sold for 450, okay? This house is not a pool home and it sold for 430. Both of them were completely modernized. And they went in on this house. I mean, look at this. Water heater was done in 2024. AC done in 2023. It was re-landscaped and irrigation was done in 2022. I mean, they just did everything. Roof done in 2016, replumbed in 2020. Gutters redone in 2021. So they really did their thing on this house, and they sold at 429. But let's see how it performed on the market before I move on from this. I just want to see how it performed. So this house, oh, look at this. Oh, they was trying to sell this for a minute. All right, so they originally sold it or bought it in 2020. They first listed for sale June 26th of 2024 for a little over $500,000, right? $565,000, which is crazy, right? In this area for this type of house. And the market definitely backed that up. The market said, nope, that's too high. They kept coming down, coming down, coming down. And they had this house on the market for almost a year, looks like. Over a year, because they removed it December 17, 2024, because they weren't getting any traction, right? And then finally came back on the market about 8 months later at an even lower price. So they went from $565,000 originally. That's what they thought they were going to get. Okay, and then finally, when they came back on the market again later on, they came back up on the market at $430,000. And notice, the minute that they set it at that price, look how fast this happened. They listed it August 28th and went pending 4 days later. 4 days later. This is why doing your numbers and knowing how to analyze deals is so important. This is why being conservative is so important, right? And so they went pending in 4 days. Not for any other reason but the price. All right? So they went pending. Something happened though, because they listed it back up and went pending again a few days later, got listed back up again, and went pending again a week later and finally sold. So here's what I'm looking at. I want to look at the time from when they listed it which was about 2 or 3 days before September. And then they closed and sold it about 2 months later. That's a fast sale. This is a fast sale, and they sold it at their asking price of 429. So this is actually a pretty solid comp, y'all. Pretty solid comp. The performance on it was phenomenal. This is definitely a good comp. All right, so we got one good comp here. The only thing about this house, though, is that this house has a 2-car garage, right? So if we go back to our house doesn't have a 2-car garage. It has a 2-car carport. All right, so that does bring the value down some. So here's my question. Do you believe that a home, we just saw a house sell quickly at 430, okay, but with a 2-car garage? Do you believe that this house would sell at 430 just as quick? All right, the answer to that question is probably no, okay? I'm not saying that it wouldn't sell for 430. What I'm saying is that it probably wouldn't sell as fast, right? Because the market rewarded a home of this size, but with a 2-car garage at 430. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is we need some more comps, y'all. So I'm gonna expand my reach a little bit here. And I'm gonna get this area added into our search. All right, cool. We got more comps. Remember, all of these comps are within the last 90 days. All right, so we're not even looking 6 months yet. So still, even when we added in this other area, these two houses are still the top, literally the top dollar house sold in the last 90 days. So we've seen those already. Let's go down to the next one. That's a big jump. Look at this. From 450, 430 to 345. That's a big jump. That's a big gap. So let's see why there is a big gap. Maybe it's because this house wasn't as modernized. Let's see why there's a big gap. It could also just be the neighborhood. Remember, I shared with you that the neighborhoods are different. Okay? All right, step inside to a warm and inviting interior where the kitchen shines with brand new appliances ready for your favorites, recipes and gatherings. I'm just looking for details around the home being modernized, right? So when I say modernized, what I'm talking about is like modern finishings, right? So like granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, like that luxury feel. And so it doesn't sound like they did this with this house. It sounds like it was just like a basic flip. Sold for $345. Let's look at the performance on it. They listed it September of this year at $349. They went pending about 2 months later. That's not bad, especially considering that they removed the listing and listed it back again. And they listed it higher. Maybe they put some work into the house. They thought that they were going to get more for the house. They went pending and sold it for $345. So the market that was the tip top for them. They sold at $345. The market rewarded $345. They sold it in like 2 months, which ain't bad either. That's a pretty good, reasonable timeline. So that's a considerable comp. Another comp with a 2-car garage on it, y'all. 2-car garage. Let's see if it's got a pool. I highly doubt it. No pool. Sold at $345. I want to see where on the map this is at. Something tells me it's in that neighborhood. Yep, right up here. Okay, our home is down here. All right. All right, so let's go to the next one. 330. This one sold for $330. Let's look at the description. Double pane windows, original hardwood floors, vinyl laminate, cedar closet, built-in bookshelves. It doesn't sound like they really did. They modernized this house. Updated vintage warmth and modern perks. Original hardwood floors. Kitchen and laundry feature 2022 flooring and built-in bookshelves. Roof 2022, electric panel 2024, AC 2021, double pane windows, hot water heater. I mean, none of this is telling me that this house is modernized, right? So another non-modernized home in the area sold at $330. So let's look at the performance on this one. All right, listed at May 12th at 365. They dropped the price again, and finally went pending after July 7th. They did it in a month. Once they got down to 345, they went pending in a month and took an offer at 330. Okay? All right, so that gives us a good sense. That's these houses here are literally selling under 350. And this house is also in that area up there. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at the map real quick. So these are the two comps we have down in our actual subdivision, right? All the comps up here are selling under 400K. So let's do this. Considering that information, I need to look back up a little bit further to see if I can get some comps that are more in my neighborhood. Nothing in the last 6 months down here. We did get some more comps up here. Again, nothing over 350 has sold up here. All right. So I don't really think we could use any of those comps, unfortunately, because it's just not really supporting. It gives us an idea, but because the neighborhoods are so different, it doesn't really help that much. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna look at this bottom half now. Ooh, hold on. Look at this bottom half. I gotta be careful here because once we get into the College Park area down there, the houses get really expensive. And you'll see what I mean. And look how expensive they get here, right? 585,000. I mean, they get up there. 578. All right. So we got a couple more. Maybe these could be reasonable right here. So let me do this. Let me draw one more. Something like this. I want to cut out all those expensive houses down there in College Park. Just stick to this area up here. All right, so we got 5 results. So that's down there in College Park area. We'll skip that one. Still the highest comp. Okay, now we got a new comp here. 445. Let's see if this is a pool house or not. Where is it? Here we go. Yes, pool home. So 2 pool homes sold in that 450 range, right? So this area is rewarding 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom pool homes for 450,000. Move on to the next one because our house is not a pool home. What's this? It's hard to tell. I don't think there's a pool back here. Let's look at the description. Modern appliances. Combines luxury and convenience. All right. Doesn't mention anything about a pool. If it had a pool, they probably would have mentioned it. I don't see nothing about a pool in here. All right, so this might not be a pool home, y'all. Okay, so let's take a look at something here. So this is our home here, and we're looking at it's in this neighborhood, south of Fairbanks. The values are a little higher down here, but look, we got one for 442. Okay, 442. We got our 430 house here that didn't have a pool. All right. So this is pretty good. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at what's active, right? So this is important. So now that we have a good idea, in these areas, we didn't see anything under $430,000. That gives us a floor, okay? And we don't see anything over 450. That gives us a ceiling. All right, so now let's do this. Let's take a look at our for sales. Let's see what's currently happening in this area. Again, all those sales are in the past 90 days to 6 months. Now let's see what's available on the market right now so we can compare how our product could potentially perform on the market considering the competition. All right, so we're going to start with our neighborhood, right? So we got this house up here that's in our neighborhood. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,260 square feet, smaller home. Let's see how the finish was. Pretty nice. It's basic, in my honest opinion. Not really modernized in the kitchen. Just nice, clean home though. Updated carport. So this one has a carport, 1-car carport. So we've got a 1-car carport asking $355, renovated but not modernized. And look how long it's been sitting on the market, 118 days. Let's see what the price performance. They listed it at $375, and they haven't even went pending one time. What does that tell us? It tells us that the market is not rewarding $375 for a house like this. They've dropped down now to $355, which they just did this month, and they did it 25 days ago, and they still have not went pending, which means that the market is not rewarding $355 as of yet, either for a house like this. Okay? So that's good to note. Let's move on to the next home. We got this one here for $370. They just did a price cut on it, $10K. Let's look at it. Yeah, definitely not modern at all. It's a nice home though. Just not, oh, it's got a pool too. The pool is dirty. Yeah, the pool needs some service. Okay. So this is the house. I mean, it's straight, you know. It's not nothing that is exciting as far as the finish. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500 square feet. Pool home. Now we saw that pool homes were going for $450. They have their pool home listed at $369.9, which ain't bad considering what other pool homes have sold for in this area. But again, those pool homes that sold at $450 were completely modernized, done to the top, buttoned down to the nines. This house ain't that. 68 days on Zillow since it's been listed. Let's see, listings. Oh, so they tried listing this. They tried selling this before. Let's see. Let's look at the price history. Last time it was sold was in 2015. Listed for rent. When did they actually put it on the market for sale? Here we go. So they put it on the market for sale January 8th of this year, y'all. January 8th of this year, and it still has not sold. What did they list it for? They listed it for $450,000. Why? Because that's probably what the market was rewarding. Okay, but this house ain't like those houses. So the market did not reward this house for $450. And they kept dropping the price and dropping the price and dropping the price and dropping the price. Dropping the price. And then they finally fell at $369.9 where they're at right now, and it still has not sold. They just did that price cut though yesterday. So we'll see how that performs. All right, gives us an idea. Give us an idea. So what else we got? We got one more comp here for $445. See, now this one is modernized, right? This is what I mean when I say modernized. Granite countertops, shaker style cabinets, stainless steel appliances. I mean that refrigerator kind of small, but that's all right. Look at the wood, vinyl wood plank floors, real nice. It's just like marble, actually. The countertops are like marble. That's nice. Or quartz, I mean. Nice sink. So very nice finish in the kitchen. Modern fixtures, very nice. They did a great job on this. Look at the bathroom. The bathroom, y'all. Beautiful. Beautifully done bathroom, right? So definitely top dollar renovation, 100%. This is top dollar renovation here. They got pavers here, very nice. Gazebo in the back, storage space, and looks like a 2-car carport. Nice. Nice big yard, corner lot. Okay. So this is good. This is good. I like what I see, right? So this house is listed for $445. Let's see how it's performing. 41 days on the market. Mm-hmm. All right, so they bought this 2021. They listed it for sale for 470 October 17th. So they just did this last month. They gave it a month on the market, and then they dropped the price about $15,000. My math is off, y'all. Sorry. That's $25,000, looks like. And they just did that. So we're going to see how that performs. But the market is clearly not rewarding that house either. So what does this all mean? Like why did we spend the time to look at all this information? Right? So according to the wholesaler who sent me this deal, the ARV on that house, which is the main house we're looking at, is 450 according to them. Based on the information that we see, do you feel like it's realistic to bet your eggs, to bet your money on this house being able to be sold at 450 and sell quick? That's my question. Based on all the information we've gathered and all the research we just did, looking at the recently sold comps, and then looking at what's currently active on the market, and looking at all of their performance, do you believe that this house that we're looking at will perform well at $450,000? Type yes or no in the comments. Type yes or no in the comments. Is this a deal or not a deal at $299? We're going to answer that question next. You don't need to answer that right now because we don't have enough information for that yet. Right? We need to do our numbers. But first, we need to establish a reasonable ARV. Okay? 450 is not a reasonable ARV. Pool homes sell for 450. That's what our recently sold comps have told us. Okay? Our active comps are telling us that 450 is much too high for a house without a pool. Here's a house that does not have a pool. Completely modernized, completely done up. Okay? And it's been on the market for 41 days and no one's buying it. Okay? Look at these houses down here, 370. This house doesn't have a pool either. Or it does have a pool, excuse me. This house has a pool. They listed it, tried to get a whole lot more for it. They tried to get $450 for this too. Market did not reward it. Okay? And it's not rewarding it even at $369 as of yet. All right? So with all of this information, if you're an investor, right, we have to look at all this information and we have to really, really, really be mindful of it, because the last thing you want is to purchase a property expecting it to sell for a certain price. And then once you're in the weeds of it, once you're already in the deal and you're on the market, you're listed and you're waiting for it to sell, it's not selling at that price. And you have to come down on your price, And God forbid, you have to come down so far where you end up taking a loss, right? So this is why it's important to look at all this information. All right, so now these are our actual sold comps. What has me concerned about this area is this. The sold comps are showing us that the floor is at 430. This is our lowest comp at 430. Fully modernized, right? We have comps that are showing us that are below this price and they're not selling. Okay? They're not selling yet. And so that's a concern for me. Okay? That's a concern for me. But if I were to go based on what I have as far as like, okay, what has actually sold, I have to go with these. Both these up here are pool homes, so we'll skip those. This one here I don't think is a pool home. Let me look at this one again. I think it's a pool home. Not a pool home, sold at 442. This one here is not a pool home, sold at 429. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the price per square foot. We're going to get an average. We're going to get an average here. Price per square foot. All right. Of these two, 338 and 273. Our average price per square foot is 3055. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our house now. $1,491 square feet. I'm going to multiply that by 1491. We ended up with 450. Now, we've already established that 450 is too high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to curve this down. We'll curve it by 10%. We end up at 409. I feel like that's reasonable, especially considering the fact that there are houses currently right now for sale at 375 on the market, right? But the thing is that none of those houses are modernized. So if a better product comes on the shelf at a better price than historical prices have shown, in other words, a fully modernized house decked out to the nines that is well beneath the $430,000 mark should sell pretty quick, right? So this is showing us 410. I like that number 410. Okay, I like that number. It's pretty reasonable. So now we've got something to work with. We got a basis here, right? So my ARV for this is $410,000. So already we can see the ARV that the wholesaler had of 450, too high based on my honest opinion and my evaluation. I wouldn't want to bet my apples on that. I would rather bet on it at 410, still listed at 450, see if the market's going to reward it. But if it doesn't, realistically, I need to be at 410 for me to be able to exit and still make a profit. Does that all make sense? All right. So cool. Let's speed this up. Now that we got our ARV, now we can do our math to figure out if 299 is a deal or not. So as I shared with you before, this house, okay, needs quite a bit of work. It's going to need cosmetic updates, all right? It will need a new HVAC system outside and most likely inside as well. And it's going to need a full-on cosmetic gut job and new kitchen, new bathrooms, new floors, new paint, the whole thing, right? Maybe even a new roof. So with that being said, I'm going to do this at $40 a square foot. $14.91 times $40 a square foot. That gives us a repair estimate of $59,000. I'm going to round up to 60 grand. Okay, and it might end up being a little bit more than that if there are any surprises like a plumbing issue or anything like that. It could be more than that, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to look real quick at 45,000. Excuse me, at $45 per square feet and see where that lands us to. 1491, 67,000. All right, I'll do it at 65 grand. I think that's reasonable. So $65,000. Okay, $65,000. Now we have a repair cost, right? So now we can do our math. We said that the ARV is at 410 minus 65. Oops, 1 second. Minus 30%. That locks in profit margin, holding costs, resale fees, all that, right? That puts us at 287 minus now the $65,000 in renovations. We're at $222. Now, my question to you is, based on the math that I just did and the homework that we've just done, is this a deal or is it not a deal? The wholesaler's asking $299. Is it a deal at $299 or not a deal at $299? Okay, type it in the comments. Type it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Is it a deal at $299 or not a deal at $299? And I'm gonna do the math. I'm gonna do the math even more conservative because, like, I really do try my best to see if there's a way that I can accomplish that number. All right. So I'm gonna give it benefit of the doubt. Let me just say maybe I was being too conservative, right? So 410 minus 25% this time. Okay, and let's say that we can get it done. Maybe an investor can get it done for 55,000. We're still at 252, and we still have not included our wholesale fee. So my question to you again is this a deal or is it not a deal? Deal or no deal? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat down low. Is this a deal or not a deal? Let me know. Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal? Okay? Type it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right. So I'm going to tell you what I think. This is not a deal. The numbers clearly show it's not a deal. In order for this to be a deal, I need this house under $222,000. And if I'm going to wholesale it, I need it for under $2 $112,000 so I can lock in a $10,000 margin. Okay? So that's it, y'all. In order for this deal to work, we need to be in the low $200,000 range. Okay? And then with the hopes of being able to sell it for 410, anything above that is called revenue surprise. Okay, surprise, positive revenue. We did better than we thought. That's phenomenal. But as an investor, the number one rule of investing is never to lose money. We can't help it sometimes. It's going to happen to you eventually. If it hasn't happened yet, that's just the way it goes. But what matters more than the loss are the wins, right? So if you're mitigating your risk as much as possible, if you are respecting that rule as much as possible, you're going to end up having more wins than you will losses, which is what's going to make you profitable. Okay? The more deals that you do that are green versus the deals that you don't do that are green is what's going to essentially make you a profitable investor. And here's what I love about real estate. Real estate is not really all that volatile. What does that mean? It means that at the end of the day, you have 100% control over how much loss you take. 100% control over that. Meaning that as long as you buy the real estate at the right price from the jump, it doesn't matter what the market's doing. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're going to be profitable, or at least be able to break even if something goes wrong. Okay, I've had many real estate flips where I've had situations go wrong and I didn't make as much money as I thought, but because I bought it at such a great price, I was still able to walk out of the deal with a little bit of profit and even break even. And I've had a deal where I had to take a loss, right? It is what it is. But in the grand scheme of things, I've made way more money, okay, doing flipping property than the losses that I've had. And that's what matters. And the reason why is because I mitigate my risk. So you can see here how I analyze deals, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm a scared investor. I'm not scared to invest money, but I am scared to lose it. And so with that being said, I am very careful with how I analyze properties, and I believe you should do the same thing for you, so that way you can be able to benefit from that as well. All right, so listen, if this has been great, type it in the comments. What did you learn today? What did you learn? Okay, like, share, and subscribe for those of you who are on YouTube watching right now. For those of you who are on Zoom and are part of my community, my students who are here right now, what did you learn? Type it in the chat. Type it in the Zoom chat. What did you learn? What did you learn? Type it on YouTube. What did you learn? What is your number one takeaway from tonight's class? What was your number one takeaway? Okay, what is something that you're gonna do differently when you're analyzing your deals? All right. And I want to encourage you to give as many offers as you possibly can. Get out there, analyze as many deals as you possibly can, so that you can close as many deals as you possibly can. All right. So again, I'm not going to hold you tonight. I want you to enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy this Thanksgiving Day. I hope that this has been valuable for you. I hope that that you've enjoyed it. I will see you next week. Be sure and remember to like, share, and subscribe, and give me your feedback in the comment section. Until next time, I'm Luke Madeus. I will see you all on next week's Deal or No Deal. Au revoir. Peace.